It would appear our next stop is Praetor, specifically Central Control. I look forward to traveling there, once you've sufficiently prepared. Potentially. In the past, the locale was shared equally between us Arbiters and the Consul's Sentinels. However, considering the traitors crawling throughout the rest of Arcadia, I fear what duplicity the Consul may have wrought at Central Control. No. The Sentinel worked on the Consul's behalf. I do note that the agent was an odd wrinkle, but that still does not fly in the face of what I believe. Believe me, my outlook on the situation matches your own. Hopefully, the worst is over, and it shall be smooth moving forward. I am prepared to visit Central Control when you are.
Moment of your time, Commander. Remember that matter on Cloister I mentioned earlier? Well, since we're here and all, thought we might take it up now. Might be hard to believe, but 20 or so odd years ago, I made a mistake. Feels like high time I righted it. Now I'm out and about again. That's where the error occurred, I believe. Others judged it such. I shut it down. Believe I was wrong to do so. For many years now, a former colleague of mine's been in a remote spot called Reasons Pass, on account of my decision. Hardly. Quite the opposite, in fact. She's one of the finest minds to ever grace the Order. Her research was unconventional, surely. She was as well. I think with both, we could right things, get the Order back on its intended path. Do appreciate it, Commander. Is quite conducive for cooling the archive. Unconducive for me feeling my fingers.
Temporary indignities of the body are nothing contrasted to the Order's future. Keep those eyes open, soldiers! Corneal frostbite be... Might be damned!
Hold.
We're presently observing a ceasefire with Auntie's choice, but its duration may be subject to sudden reversal. Would hate for you to get caught in any crossfire. Gathering data on the enemy's movements and behavior. Blizzards raise the degree of difficulty, but that's our problem, not yours. Cloister has been a difficult front, and losing the Archive, first to the invaders and now to the Protectorate, has made it even more painful. Never mind the rifts. If you're looking for a way to help us out, I recommend heading to Laplace's garden. Follow this path and you can't miss it. There were rifts since before the invasion, of course, but those were relatively stable. We've had no end to the headaches caused by the ones that have spawned since. Lost Newton to a bunch of rift worshippers after a rift appeared on the bridge to the Archive. They're obsessed. Keep hoping they'll save us some trouble and throw themselves in. Thankfully, the presiding bishop and the Laureate Council have the rift problem well in hand. So they say. I'll need to test the proof before accepting the solution, you know?
Hello. Farewell. Thank you for this efficiently compact conversation.
Heard that rift near the Archive has destabilized.
Yeah.
Must be a sign. The Protectorate's latest action clearly runs counter to the plan. Mark my sup.
Agent, I have a message for you. On behalf of the Order of the Ascendant, and her impermeable wisdom, the presiding bishop Ruth Bassar, welcome to Laplace's garden. The presiding bishop is presently indisposed, but I've been instructed to direct you to the Artificer Laureate for whatever pressing matter has brought you to the garden. She's working in Belvedere Hall's secondary courtyard. Enter the large building at the top of the mesa ahead and follow the first hall on your right. The Artificer Laureate is head of the Department of Applied Scientism, overseeing the exemplars, or craftsmen, of our order. Weapons and technology all fall under her purview. Oh no, not at all. The presiding bishop routinely spends time in a sensory deprivation chamber to hone her mental faculties. Of course, she does seem to be logging more hours in the chamber of late, but I'm certain that's all part of the plan. The rest of the Laureate Council is capable of managing affairs while the presiding bishop is occupied. Really, it's no reason for concern. Nothing in the garden is. Look around you. I don't see a battlefield. Do you? I'm quite sure I don't know what refugees you're referring to. I fear our conversation has drifted from its central thesis. Continuing along this current trajectory seems unwise. Can I help answer any other queries for you? May all your problems precede solutions.
Is it just me? Or does something seem... Oh, never mind.
I'm cutting you off there, Charles. That's your third conviction today. People will start to worry. Welcome to the CAF integration point. Will it be caffeine or convictions today? Convictions are statements which promote personal and professional confidence and well-being, leading to 22.9% more scientific breakthroughs in a given quarter. Interested? Before I can administer your conviction, I need to ask you a question. In what area of your life do you feel you need the most improvement? Personal or professional?
Oh no, I'm not touching that remark. Too easy.
Personal it is. Your substantial ego provides the confidence needed to achieve in ways large and small. It most certainly will not prevent you from forming healthy relationships in the future. Is that right? You'd be the first to admit as much. You know, I'm actually nearing the end of my shift. If you're amenable to continuing our chat somewhere more private, I think we could both benefit. Right this way. You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Allow me to whet your appetite for intrigue a little further, shall I? I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. Recall what you have observed thus far. Isn't it strange how calm everyone is? The Order is in the middle of a war. A war, one might say, they are losing. Tell that to the refugees of Golden Ridge and Eden that they refuse to house here. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. It makes the mind quieter, like closing the door on a screaming crowd. It's not unpleasant. Why would the Order want to create a society of undistractable little academics whose only desire is to advance the plan? I wonder. It'd be a lot more difficult to conduct my survey of the garden from outside the garden. Depends on your definition of harm. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. Took you long enough to ask. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us. Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. No. This is about control. Everything is. Most see this as a war of survival. But what everyone's really fighting for is control over the narrative. To be declared victor and have their vision for Arcadia deemed superior. It follows that a drug capable of suppressing discontent could also be used to suppress greater forms of resistance. That's all. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? It's too diluted by the time it enters circulation. I need the unfiltered drug, which is only accessible to those working in water reconditioning. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but I'm sure I have something that'll make your job a little easier. And I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win.
What a lamentable state of affairs. I remember the days when Laplace's garden lived up to its estimable purpose. Now look at it. The fountain in disrepair, pedagogy in the park, even the lights above our heads have winked out like stars taken down from the sky. War? Not with the corporatists, surely. That seems to have calmed down, for the moment at least. Oh, you must mean our little ideological dispute with the Protectorate. Oh, piffle. My dear pupil, that is nothing but distraction. The real war is happening here, inside the garden. We are battling for humanity's future, and victory balances on a knife's edge. Nevertheless, one must persist. The plan is good. The shadow of ignorance cannot withstand its light. We shall see. Oh, I couldn't say. This isn't my college, as it were. I'm a vicar. I tend to people's philosophical needs and leave the management of the garden to others. Oh, no? What a tremendous disappointment. Perhaps in time you will acquire the necessary skills in return. Or someone else will come along, as is the way of things.
Captain predatory fauna eke out a brutal existence here, relying on their mesmerizing patterns of bioluminescence. We Homo sapiens should ostensibly stand no chance.
second makeup exam will not be off, so I hope you studied this time, Briar. You may begin now.
Right. No pressure.
Do your own research.
For pity's sake, is it the pump or the sealant? Industrial science is mostly theory, they said. You won't have to put your knowledge into practice for years, they said. Now the fountain's broken and I can't.